Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kallie. So happy to have you here. If you're not new here, thanks for returning. So today we're going to talk all about how to be productive at home. I've actually had a lot of people ask me this because obviously pretty much all of 2020 most of us were home, and also I'm at home a lot of the time even when the world is regular. So I figured I would just touch on a few things, especially because a lot of people are still at home, or even if you're younger and you're just like doing your schoolwork or something, I don't really know, but I'm just gonna share a lot of the things that have been super helpful for me being home a lot of the time and also staying productive. So I just have like a few like bullet points. I'm also gonna be like showing you a few things as I talk and go about this video, because they're things that I can show you. So the first thing that I think is super important, I'll wait till she finishes drinking her water. So the first thing is have a routine. So for me especially, it is a morning routine that kind of is the most important thing for my day and getting started and making sure I'm starting the day on the right foot and being productive. So a lot of the things that happen in my morning routine are what set me up to be productive for the day. So I'll go into that for you. I'm also probably just going to be putting some clips over top of this because I took some of them for you. So number one, obviously setting an alarm. It's been my goal this year to be up by 8:30. Maybe that's like really late to you, but for me that's fine. And then just making sure I don't hit snooze. I'm not somebody who ever hits snooze because I usually set my alarm as late as possible, and I'm the type of person that sets one alarm and that's it. So I feel like in the video today, you see that I woke up at 8 or 9, but no, I didn't set my alarm for 8 and snooze. I actually woke up before my alarm because of her. So anyways, and then I always start my morning with like a hot lemon water. There's a lot of like very good things about it, but this video is not about that. So I start my day with that, and then once I do that, I'm starting to take walks now. This is like very, very new, mainly because of my PT, but also because she's here. So we took a walk today, and I do that type of stuff before I even like eat breakfast or, you know, really do anything. And then, as you guys know, if you follow me, you know that I drink my matcha, so that's obviously part of my morning routine. And then getting dressed. I think getting dressed is kind of underrated when it comes to staying at home, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but getting dressed is actually very helpful. A lot of people, when they're at home, they just like stay in their home routine, right? So like maybe you like stay in your pajamas all day or whatever. I've found that it helps me feel more productive if I actually get dressed, like legit, like put on like a sports bra or something, because I could just like leave on a t-shirt or sweatshirt and sweats all day. And while my attire is still like comfy and casual, I still feel more put together, like when I put on like my hoops or my jewelry or like do a little bit of makeup or whatever. So I think that's super helpful, like getting dressed and getting ready, even if it's like super minimal. Just don't stay in your pajamas all day. And then for me, if you watch my last video, which I can post here too, manifestation journaling and then making my to-do list are huge parts of my morning, and to-do lists run my life. So we're gonna kind of talk about that because that's like a huge major point. Like it's part of my routine, but making to-do lists, making lists are so crucial to being productive. So number one, the night before, I like to like kind of do like a little dump either in my notebook. I'm somebody who likes to write things down a lot, or if I'm like for some reason like laying in bed, I'm like, oh, I have to do this, this, and this tomorrow, I'll just like pull open the notes on my phone. And I feel like that's actually a really good exercise to, at the end of the night, just kind of have like a brain dump of things you want to get done the next day. So then you like go to sleep, and when you wake up, you're already like kind of aware of what you need to do that day. So that's also like really helped me, instead of just like waking up and be like, oh, what do I need to get done? Instead of making it up on the fly, I actually already know. Another thing that helps me when I make my to-do list, because I'm like as specific as you can be, and maybe that's like crazy to you, but I legit write down pretty much everything, between like the meals that I'm eating to like the bigger tasks that I want to get done. Then I prioritize the order I want to do them in. Like, so if I have something, oh my god, she has a squeaky toy. So if I have something that is more daunting and I'm like, I know I want to check that off, I'm gonna like put a earlier number in front of that. So you just prioritize things by putting them in numbers, and then it's my favorite thing ever to legit like go to something and cross it off. I just started this new thing where I'll just like I used to just like X it off, check it off, whatever, but now I actually just like highlight it with like a different color like marker or pen that I have, just knowing that it's done, and then it's very easy to tell like what I have left. So prioritizing things is super important, but a lot of the stuff that I'm going to give you are just all these little not even time saving, but they're just like productive tips that you can do. So obviously having a routine is super helpful. Making a to-do list is like game changing. I don't know how people get through their day and they don't make a to-do list. Like literally, I have no idea. Okay, so now it is 11 o'clock. I've gotten a good amount done already today. It is the first time that I am checking my phone. So I have been limiting social media definitely in the morning. So like today I woke up at like 8 and I now haven't been on my phone for 3 hours. I answered like 2 text messages because one of them I had a question that I needed to ask my sister, and then somebody texted me, but like I've really made a conscious effort to not check my phone in the morning. So I use my phone as my alarm, which I'm sure I could get an alarm clock, but it's just the way it wakes me up gently because I'm a very light sleeper, so I just wake up to the vibrate of my phone. But I've noticed it's definitely really helped me to not waste time laying in bed. Number one, just like scrolling and doing things, and also it's just like a really shitty way to start your day. You know what I mean? It just like starts your day with your mind on like overdrive, where you're either like consuming too much content or you're consuming too much news, like just too much. And for somebody like me, who like obviously part of my job is like social media, it also makes me be working first thing in the morning. So I cannot stress enough, and I think it will change your life if even just for an hour you have no phone at all. So the only reason I'll use my phone in the morning is to either listen to music like on the Bluetooth speaker or to listen to a podcast. So I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb a lot, but I always sleep with it on Do Not Disturb, so I keep it like that until I'm ready to like actually start doing things. So huge tip for being productive. And then setting a timer for things is also something that I have been trying to do. For example, if I know that I have to take an Instagram picture one day and then I'm posting that same photo the same day, I will set a timer for myself to take the photo, to edit the photo, and then to come up with a caption. Because if you give yourself like 4 hours to do something, you're going to take 4 hours to do it. But if you give yourself like 30 minutes to do something, then you're going to make it happen in the 30 minutes. I think that setting a timer for certain tasks is really helpful. Some things I understand that you can't set a timer for, but I think it's really, really helpful when it's a task that you know like you can get done in one sitting if you actually just time yourself. A lot of stuff we have to talk about today is about time. So now I'm going to talk about time batching, because I've tried this in the past and I also still sort of do it now, but I know it's something I could get better at, and it's something that I would love to get better at. So if you don't know what time batching is, it's basically like you set aside a certain amount of time for one task. Because gone are the days where multitasking is like the cool thing, because it really actually helps you're less productive when you're multitasking because you're half-assing things or screwing things up. So time batching is super crucial. So for example, I actually did just start basically time batching my days. So I thought about all the things that I need to get done and all the things that I do. And for example, like on Sundays, that's the day that I will be recording my podcast, and it's also the day that I want to start shooting Instagram content for the week. So I haven't really started it yet, but it's like on my list. So that's what I will be doing that day. So like that's the only thing that I need to worry about, so then I don't have to worry about the rest of the week. So Mondays, because I'll be editing the day before, I will be recording the day before, I'll be editing the podcast on Monday. So that's like a dedicated time batch to that. And then I'll be coming out with my post for the week, like so on and so forth. But time batching is super crucial for people who are always at home, but it works for any type of job, in my opinion. If you have a to-do list and things to do, you just have to break apart the things when you need to do them. So time batching is like super helpful and super crucial, and you should definitely Google it. Speaking of Google, this is something that I personally don't enjoy, but I know a lot of people find success in it, and it's using the Google Calendar to basically time batch your day. I've tried it, I just don't find myself sticking to it because I'm very much a like pen and paper person, where some people like to check their phone and block off their days. I tried it and I liked it, but I noticed that I would just constantly default to writing things down. So Google Calendar is a really good tool for people to use to be productive, because you set apart that separate time to do something, where I'm so in the routine of using pen and paper that I kind of don't need that, don't really like it, but I wanted to mention it in this video because it's something that can actually really help people. I actually was listening to the Skin Confidential podcast, and they were talking about like ways to be productive at home, and I liked one thing that they said. They were talking about you need to be proactive instead of reactive, and with that I feel like kind of comes the whole way you approach your day. So when you do like the little brain dump at night and then you wake up the next morning, like you already are being proactive because you know what you have to do, instead of like I talked about with my phone earlier. Like when you're putting somebody else in the position for you to react, for example, like you're taking in too much content, you're answering emails right away, you're doing this, this, and this, and you're not being proactive in what you need to do, you're just being reactive. So I think it's just really good to be aware of what you're being proactive about in your day. And another thing that I feel like I should mention, because we're talking about being productive and stuff, but I think it's also crucial to be aware that you are at home and you know, there are a lot of temptations. So it's interesting, when I started, like when I was not working at the beginning of quarantine and all this stuff, like I really did give myself time off. Like I watched so many TV shows, I was like on the couch, I really didn't do much. It took me like a few months to really just like actually get back into the flow of things, and now like I really do find that I don't like watch TV that often. I mean, like I'm watching Yellowstone today because I just started it, but I find that I don't like turn it on unless I'm like eating lunch or something, and I feel like that's a very good rule to have. And like I talked about all the rules with my phone before, like that's super important. It's super good for my mental health. It's also super good for my productivity, I think, because when I'm so focused on my morning routine and not looking at my phone, not looking at social media, it allows me to like get my head straight for what I actually need to do that day, and puts me in like a good mindset. Where if like you're laying in bed and you check emails, or you lay in bed and you're like reading DMs, like you're already just like being reactive and like serving other people other than you, and that's just like not the way you should start your day in order to be productive. So I hope all of this makes sense. I know it's like kind of like a quick video, but at the same time I think they're just all very good big points, and they're all ones that have worked for me. Even the Google Calendar did work for me. It's just like not my personal favorite. And morning routine, making your to-do list, prioritizing things on your to-do list, setting timers is I think a really good thing to try, because I feel like a lot of people don't always do that, and I find that when I'm like I need to have this done by this time, and like legit set a timer and not have anything else to do in that time, which goes along with time batching, it's just such a good way to be productive. So if you have any other ideas of how you're productive, please drop them in the comments below. I would love to know it. Love to hear about them, read them, you know, all that good stuff, because 2021, I don't know if much is changing from us being at home, so why not be productive while you're doing it? And I really hope this was like helpful for some people, because surprisingly enough, this is a video people have asked me about, because I think a lot of people are intrigued that I am home all day, and I do like to treat content creation and all this stuff almost like a 9 to 5. I'd say it's like a 10 to 5 because I get my day started a little bit later, but I do kind of set those hours. I know that sounds really interesting, but I treat it that way. And obviously like Instagram and stuff like never really stops, so I will like do that on the weekend, but I do like to get a huge chunk of my productive work done during the day. And it just feels so good at the end of the day to look at your to-do list and be like, wow, like I got everything done, or wow, like I just have 2 things that I need to like push over to tomorrow. And that's the other important thing about prioritizing things, is that if that happens, if you know that the things that you had at the bottom of the list are like okay to push till tomorrow. So I hope this was helpful, and let me know, like I said, like your little tips and tricks below. Follow me over on Instagram if you don't already. I'll put that up on the screen, or it's just at KallieHouse_. TikTok, Pinterest, we have a good time. And I think that's it. So thank you guys so much. And if you haven't already, subscribe below. That helps me out. And I'll see you guys for the next video.